This is Dirshu Mishna Berurah as we continue learning Hilchais Kriyas HaTorah Siman Kuf Lamed Hey, and we're up to Sif Gimel. Says the Mechaber Sif Gimel, Koyin Koyer Bat Torah Rishon, the Koyin gets the first Aliyah, Vacharav Levi, Vacharav Yisrael, and then goes the Levi, and then goes the Yisrael. Says the Mishnah Berurah, Sif Katan Tez, Koyin Koyer Bat Torah Rishon, says the Mishnah Berurah. Tersev, as the pasuk says, Vikidash Toyalach, that we saw very recently. Vekeblu Chazal, that what does this mean? Shotzalaymar Lechol Dover Shebikdusha, for all matters of holiness. Liv Toyach Rishon, they get the first Aliyah. Levarich Rishon, they bless firstly. Tomari Yafa Rishon, they get the first piece of anything. Umikol Makayim Imratza Koyin Lach Lekavod LeRabbi. Let me check all the men. Let's say the Koyin wants to give kavod to the Rav, his Rabbi, or someone greater than him, Harshus Biyada, he's allowed to. Aval in Kriyas HaTorah Beisakinesis. When it comes to Kriyas HaTorah in a shul, Tignu Chazal, they darkei Shalom, Chazal made a takana to keep the peace. She'ein Koyin v'Levi Yechalim Limchol. Even though ostensibly, can a Koyin be Michael? Can a Koyin say, I'm not going to take the first portion and give it to this one? I don't need this, give it to this one? Yes. But for Kriyas HaTorah, the answer is no. Eladavka Koyin Koyin Rishon V'Acharav Levi V'Acharav Yisrael. Why? Kadesh L'Yavai Adavar L'Dei Machlokes. So we don't come to fights. Because everyone's going to say, Ani Gadol V'Akarishan, I'm greater. So we say no. Kriyas HaTorah, B'Davka, specifically the Koyin comes first. Vein Chalik Vein Shabbos V'Yantav L'Shen V'Chamish L'Sharas Banu Shekarim Behem. Shabbos, Yantav, Monday, Thursday, all Kriyas HaTorahs, the Koyin comes first. But concludes this Mishnah Berurah, but I mean Koyin Beisakinesis, then Holchen Achar Agadol B'Chachma V'Minyan, Avabish Achar Agadol B'Shanim. Then we don't give it to the eldest person. Then we give it to the Chacham. Then he goes first. So when there's no Koyin, that's when we give it to the Talmid Chacham, etc. After the Koyin comes the Levi, Sefkat Yod, Acharav Levi, Vasbachenu Akra, Dechsev Yitnu Al Koyin Bnei Levi V'Goymer Atan Atu Anan Lo Yadinu the Koyin Bnei Levi Ninu. Do we not know that the Kohanim are Bnei Levi? Elo, what does the pasuk teach us? Lashminan Dimitchila Kohanim Ve'Hadar Bnei Levi. So before we continue, let's see quickly a few important dirshus. Dirshu points out about this limud of Vikidashtai, that this limud of Vikidashtai we're going to learn in Siman Reish Aleph. The Magen Avraham says it's not an asmachta elachi of midoraisa, a really important, strong din. It's a din deraisa. If someone comes and said he's a koyin, we saw in Siman Kuf Chav Ches that he's neman too dochen, and that is the minhag. The Ramon Even Ezer writes, even with regard to getting the first aliyah, if someone says he's a koyin, we believe him. Now, what about a koyin balmom or a koyin katan? Is there a din of vikidashtoi? The Sharti and Reish Be'ev is going to bring from Rav Akiva Eger that they learn from the Sifra that there's a din l'kadesh gam koyin balmom, and because of this, Rav Magen Avraham asks that shekel b'koyin katan shein by mitzvahs vikidashtoi machal sheinu b'chlal v'ayda. There shouldn't be a din vikidashtoi by a katan. However, with regard to koyin katan, the Mishnah Berurah Paskins la'aloch like Magen Avraham, there's no din vikidashtai for a koyin katan. The Magen Avraham explains what's the difference between a balmom that we just learned that there is a din of vikidashtai and between a katan. Says the Stipler and Emes the Yaakov the balmon, even though he can't work in the Beis Mikdash, however, still he gets a portion of kachim. He gets the karbanas, he's allowed to eat them. Mashenki, when it comes to kayanim, even though they can eat kachim, but they don't get their own portion. They eat kachim from their father, they don't get their own portion. So says the Stipler, that's why there's no din of vikidashtai by a katan. Comes on the Har Tzvi, Rav Tzvi Pesach Frank, and he says a different chilik. That a balmom, even though he doesn't work in the Beis Hamikdash, he still has a mitzvah to kachim. Whereas a katan, even though he's allowed to kachim, doesn't have a mitzvah of the achila. Another way of answering up the chiluk in a katan and a balmom. A kohen that marries a woman that he's not allowed to marry, we've seen previously, then he loses his rights to get the first aliyah. What about getting any other aliyah? Moshe Feinstein says he has a din of Yisrael. Why? Because of the Pri Megadim's reasoning that he just loses his ma'ila of kahuna, but he doesn't lose his ability to get an aliyah. What does it mean? Levarech first, that's by Yesuda, Berach Samaitzi, Berach Samazah in this stapler comes first. Now, what does this mean to give a money yafeh? The Yisrael has a chiyuv to give the better portion to the guest. The kohen comes first. Similarly, this is davka b'chaverim or by stalka, but not to give the kohen a shutvis in chaver Yisrael. Why? Because the Gemara Pesachim says, now, an important halacha is the kohen allowed to give away kohen. We learned to know, not in the Beis HaKnesses, the kohen always comes first. Now, is he able to be moichel to a stam? Let's say not in a shul. The kohen wants to give kavod to a stam person, or is it only someone that is greater than he? We're going to learn in Siman Reish Aleph that he wants to give kavod to anyone he's allowed, even if the person is not really of a stature, but if the kohen wants, he has the ability. Now, Dirshu note number 24. If there's no kohen in shul, what did the Mishnah Berurah teach us? We give it to the gadol b'chachmo b'minyan, but not to the zaken. The kohen in the middle of Kriyas HaTorah is in shul, but he's not davening with this minyan. Rav Si Beis Frank, who we just said was the higher tzvi, is misopek if he needs to get that aliyah. Meaning, is the din to give it to a kohen who's davening at that minyan? Let's say there are no koyanim, but there's one kohen sitting there and learning. The higher tzvi is not sure. He proves from a chasam sefer that there's no chiyav if he's not part of the Kriyas HaTzibur. The Aderes says there's no chiyav to give him the aliyah, and that was the das of Eliyashiv. Misham shekavodesh al kohen urak sheshayich l'tzibur b'tefila zu. So when we get up to kohen and we say, is there any kohen? If there's a kohen sitting in the back learning according to Rav Eliyashiv, you don't have to give him the aliyah. It's only if he's part of the minyan. What does it mean if there's no kohen, we should give it to the one who's gadol b'minyan? Says Dirshu Mishna number 25, according to Mishnah Berurah, that means gadol b'misvar talmidim. He has many talmidim. However, he explains the Mishnah in Idiyas she'in bezdin yochel levatel divrei chaverai until it's gadol b'chachma v'minyan. And Tiferes Yisrael over there explains that what does minyan mean? Minyan talmidim bezdin achroin. That's the reason why over here it's the same din. Chachmei adar she'eskima v'kiblu adar bezdin. So when some say minyan means minyan hashanim, roish bezdin achron yezakim in a rishon. So we're seeing over here, it's not just a din if there's no kohen, give it to the Talmid Chacham. It's someone who's really the gadol, really of stature, the head of the bezdin, the Rosh Hashiva. He should get the aliyah if there is no kohen. And we continue now with Sif Dalet. Says the Mechaber, Haminig Boshit, Shafilu Koyin Amoretz, Koydim Likers and Chacham Gadol Yisrael. Just like the Mishnah Berurah explained that in the basic Knesset, the kohen can't be meichel kavod. Says the Shulchan Aruch and Sif Dalet, what is the minhag? That if there's a kohen ha'aretz, he comes before even a chacham gadol b'Yisrael, and that's only, of course, the kohen knows how to read. However, the kohen yodea likros says the Ramah miu emyoch likros and Mashiach Sibra mila b'mila. Sagi b'kav k'lamam b'sim kuf lamates, we're going to get to the original Kriyas HaTorah. Every person again, Aliyah, he was one that leaned his Aliyah. Nowadays we know we have a Baal Kari, which is what we're going to get to. It's enough if you can lean along with the Baal Kari. Shemeni yodea likros eichel varich al HaTorah, you can't make the bracha al HaTorah if he does not know how to read. Says the Mishnah Berurah Sivkatin Yud Aleph that the minhag ha'pashat rata leimer after Abri Rishonim said midlo naslech anazul aktim amar snei chacham. Even though many learn that we don't make this takana to give the Amars before the Chacham, like we pointed out, and therefore the Kohen always comes first. No, because everyone knows you only give it to the Kohen because that is the minhag, so there's no bezayin. That's enough if you can read along with the Baal Kari. No, the Kohen Shechlikos Ba'atzuk Vur Sham. But if there's a Kohen who knows how to read, he's going to come first, as we're going to get to in Siman Kuf Lamites. Shemeni Yodea Sivkatan Tetzvav Al Kinei Gabrach on the Torah. Ukayayim, as we pointed out, says the Mishnah Berurah. Noigim Lekrai say Avu Misheni Yodea Lekros. If he does not know how to lane, we give him the Aliyah Imash Leachsimi Techiksav Ki Im Al Peh. What's the reason the Messiah Mashiach knows how to read Al-Kapanim Bal-Peh? Even if he can't actually read the words, he can repeat the words from the Shliach Sibra, and that's going to be enough. as we will explain, Masha Nichtav Sham. And we're going to conclude with Sif Hey. Says the Mechaber, Sefer Torah Pasuach V'Koyin Kareh Shema. The Sefer Torah is open, and the Koyin is in the middle of Shema. Ino Yirashai LaHafsik. The Koyin should not stop his Shema. The Koyin Yisrael b'Mekayim. So instead, you call up Yisrael. Says the Rambam V'Chim Tayni Shachar Pesach V'Sukkot Shekarin V'Echal. Main Koyin Mesana V'Koyin Yisrael. If there's no Koyin fasting, you call Yisrael. V'Tav Shidduch HaKoyin V'Tzkinas. It's better that the Koyin leaves the shul. Says Mishmur Sivkata Tazayin Imna Sefer Torah Pasuach Lu Adin Afilu Adayin Lo Yitzia Sefer Torah. Let's say they didn't take out the Sefer Torah. Gam Kinim Amtinim Lo Yitzia Sefer Torah Shigmar HaKoyin Tfilas. Don't take it out until the Koyin is ready. Mishum Tircha. And obviously, you should not wait to take out the Sefer Torah. Why? Because Tircha the Tzibur, everyone's waiting. The Koyin's not ready, so he's going to miss out. But you don't make the whole Tzibur rate. There was an opinion that held that the Koyin is indeed allowed to be mafsik in the middle of Kriya Shema. Hainu kishekaru, very important. That's when they call up the Koyin, when they cover HaTeirah. They called up the Koyin, so now it's covered HaTeirah. Therefore, there's a sheet that holds, even if he's in the middle of Shema, he should be mafsik and take the Aliyah. Avol lechatchila in the Kursi, we should not call him up. We should become the Koyin, Shemar Lav Shein a Koyin. Like Lanechash, why are we worried? People are going to think he's not a Koyin if he doesn't get the Aliyah. Sharei Akol Rayin Shazik BeKriyash. Everyone sees that he's in the middle of Kriyash Ma Utfilah. V'skima Achronin to Lav Davka Shema. To Adinik Shadz BeBerchas Shel Kriyash Ma. You should not call him up. V'ayalav Sim Sam Vav Sefkat El Chavav Shechriya Deish Lahakol Likras Lechatchili Kishu Amin Ben Aprakim Ve'Ein Shem Koyin Acher. Again, these are very important halachas. When they become relevant, it's a little bit of balagan, as they say. So if there's no other koyin and the koyin is being aprakim, he's allowed to get the aliyah of a kolshkin shu oisek b'psuket is zimra, a very common case. He's allowed to take the aliyah. Again, let's remind yourself. If they called up the koyin, we just said it's more lenient. Covered out taira, then the koyin didn't come up. Certainly being aprakim, certainly b'psuket is zimra. He can't talk, but he didn't take the aliyah. Say the bracha on the aliyah, and obviously no mishaberach, and move on. But l'chatchila, we're discussing, can you call it the koyin? The answer is, if he's in the middle of Shema, you should not. If there's no other koyin, then if the koyin is being aprakim between the paragraphs of Kriya Shema, then he can get the aliyah if there's no one else. Sefkati Yuches, we said that if on a Tainus Sibur, the koyin is not fasting, it's toiv, it's better, Sheilich the koyin, he should leave, and then give the aliyah to Yisrael. Hainu. Timidin, even if the koyin did not go out, you're allowed to call up Yisrael. Why? Since this koyin can't get the aliyah because he's not fasting, therefore you're allowed to call Yisrael. Rak. It's better for the koyin to leave the shul. Why? Because then people are going to think there's a begam. Not everyone knows he's not fasting. If there's another koyin that's fasting, he certainly doesn't have to leave. You just give it to the koyin that's in the middle of fasting. Tell the shliach sibur. So if there's ever a koyin that for whatever reason, medical or whatnot, he's not fasting, he should tell the shliach sibur, don't give me the aliyah because I'm not fasting. Kahal shaya noigim b'kedem shebe Shabbos v'reishis. Haya echad me'ekal misnadim moiz l'tzar basic in asik shika rishon v'aschal satayra. There was a kahal that a minog that they would sell rishon of all the parshiyos. V'akoyin in rotz livcha, the koyin did not want to be moich. Ein chayshin l'dvarav yatu akal kemin hagam. The kal is a minog. They're allowed to continue their minog and they're allowed to sell rishon and don't give it to the koyin. Because it's an old minhag shenitkan lekavod ha'Torah. This is a marik and sheirish test. But now, from the words of the marik, we only see that if one has such a minhag, we do not see that one is allowed to just sell koyin to anyone else. Even if a koyin does not want to leave, still you can give it to Yisrael that bought the aliyah. Mishnah Berurah points out like we just said. This is only if it's an old minhag and everyone agrees. The minhag was for the Kohanim to leave. Because someone will pay a lot of money. If someone wants to create a new minhag, to create a new minhag, says the Chasam Sofer and the Shivas Siyon. So let's take a moment and let's see a few of the Dirshus. Says the Dirshu. Says the Dirshu. Note number 29. Fascinating did. Says the Dirshu. If they call someone for an aliyah and he can't, why? Because in the middle of Shmoneh Esrei. So what happens? Someone else goes up and takes his place. When ukshabol la'alois la'acher mikan, hayra the chazinish, should not call him the shloish only cross Hashin is b'shmoi eliyaseh be'atzmoi. So again, the first guy's in the middle of Shmoneh Esrei, so we can't take his aliyah. Someone else should just come up and take it. Good. Okay, let's continue. We're really out of time over here. I just want to see the Dirshus for the end over here. 35. They asked the Chazon Ish a fascinating shayla. There's a shul that only one kain. Are they allowed to ask that kain at times to leave before the bracha so that they give someone else the aliyah? And the kain wasn't happy. However, the Chazon Ish wasn't happy with that. However, the Chaim Kanievsky says at times, Soyer Kadol, if there's a chiyuv to get the aliyah, other people get a chiyuv. The Chazon Ish allowed to ask the kain to leave. Kain that wants to leave from the shul, Kashain Levi, because he doesn't want to have B'makoim Levi to be yotze the sheet of the Maram Bennett, because Shein Lo Tzarech Kain Lotzei Tzkadesh Lo Yivarech Pamayim, says Rav Yashiv, he's allowed to do it, but not Ba'ofen Kavu'ah. Let's just see note number 33, and then we're going to call it a day. Let's say they call someone up for an aliyah and he's not fasting. We're going to see in Tavkuf Samach Vav, if it's Monday, Thursday, Shachris, he's allowed to get the aliyah. But Mincha, or all the day of the week, we're going to see there's been a poiskim, if he gets aliyah or not. But if they called him up and he's a Talmud Chacham, and for whatever reason he's not fasting, and it's going to be painful for him to say he's not fasting, it's a busha, and get the aliyah, so it doesn't come to a chil Hashem b'davar. We'll stop over here, and b'siyat d'shmaya, we're going to pick it up from Sif Vav in the next year in Mirza Hashem.